Good morning, Jannette.
Good morning, Uncle Donald.
I like that, Uncle Donald. How are you this morning?
I'm very well. I must admit, I'm a little tired.
Okay.
Because it's been a lot crammed into this Black History Month.
Right, yes.
I just think a lot's been crammed in because of the topic, reclaiming narratives. That's a big one, and it's about time too.
Yeah. And you're generally busy anyway.
Yes, I am.
So, thank you for agreeing to do this interview. I'm going to read a bit about yourself.
Okay.
I'm sure you do a lot more than what I'm going to read, just so the public gets a flavor of who you are.
Thank you.
Oh, Jannette Barrett, aka Express Lyricist B, is the founder of JB and Company Comedy or Tragedy Productions. Jannette is a member of the Birmingham Opera Company and has acted various characters such as 2019 Lady Macbeth, Description Theatrical Opera, characters 3 times roles. 2016-17, The Programmer, joint starring role, Description short film, character Detective Sergeant. Wow. 2019-20, Domino Effect, Description short film, character Counsellor. 2019-20, character Connie, a Windrush immigrant visitor to England, star role, Description short film and play, also part of B.H.M Workshops For Schools. 2020, Nurse Brown, star role, character Nurse Brown, Description short film, true story. 2021, Rhine Gold Opera by Birmingham Opera Company, various roles. 2022, feature film by Gap Entertainment Company, Love Is, a faith-based film due out 2024. 2023, a commission starring true story film role yet to be announced. Jannette is at present personally writing, producing, directing, and acting within her own shows, one of which is a pantomime, Queenie, Dreadlocks, and the 3 Heirs. The other is the true life production, Merlina Pearl-The Musical. Her writing has also enabled her to script The King of Reggae, the music show for the Rush Theatre Company, and take part in it as one of the narrators for a year. That show is currently touring the country. Jannette is an associate member of Gazebo Theatre Company, the company responsible for the Windrush series Connie. To date, she is still a member of the Birmingham Opera Company, a narrator for the Caribbean Bunch series of children's books, authored by Patrick Fitzgerald. And by using all the above, she enhances her work as a mental health community practitioner and a one-to-one counselor. Jannette, you're non-stop.
Greetings, yes.
That's fantastic. Absolutely superb.
Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you.
wow.
You.
I always say to people a special thanks for agreeing to be visual with their story, because there are a lot of people with fantastic stories, similar to yours, who just don't want to be seen or even heard. And I think really that we should be more forward in what we're doing. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
We're going to go through a series of questions just to find out about your background. I'm going to go way back, really, and we're going to start with where you were born. Can you tell us where you were born?
I was born in the UK, in Handsworth. Is a hospital that no longer exists. Okay. So I think it was turned into a school at some point. Right. Born in Handsworth, and I still live in Handsworth, which is Birmingham.
Yes.
Yeah.
The second city. Huh?
The so-called second city, Donald. Because I don't think we're second for anything.
Okay. Well, yes, that's great. And I know where you're talking about this school, because I think it was on the Heathrow Road somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah. Turned into a school. Yeah. That's good. So your parents, where were your parents from? Were they born here as well, or they from elsewhere?
No. My parents, my father was born in St. Lucia.
Right.
And my mother born in Jamaica.
Okay.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, or as my mother would say, donkey years pass.
Wow, those elderly, especially Jamaican people, oh man, they've got some sayings, haven't they?
That's right.
Yeah. And your father was quite special, certainly in my eyes anyway. I mean, being a merchant human.
Yeah. Well, when any of myself and my siblings say anything about my father, people are shocked immediately. Excuse me. The minute we say the year he was born.
Yeah. And I fully understand that.
Because he was born in 1909.
Oh my God.
And we know that 1909 is prior to the Titanic. Like when you think of the Titanic, that seems to be another century ago, and it literally is.
Absolutely.
It literally is.
Yeah. So you talk about siblings. How many siblings have you got?
I've got 6 siblings besides myself. Yeah. Wow. So there's 7 of us, and I'm the 6th out of the 7.
Okay. Oh, you're 6 out of the 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So just say a little bit on your father. He was in the Merchant Navy, and I believe he was on board 3 different ships that was torpedoed.
That is correct. Yes. He was in the American Naval Force.
Wow. Isn't that something?
It is. So I'm a very special child indeed, because if anything had happened back then, I wouldn't have been born, would I?
Absolutely. And how many people can say they've been on 3 different ships that have been torpedoed and still able to tell the tale? That is absolutely a tremendous story.
I mean, some people might have been, but a lot of things weren't documented.
Yes.
These things, what's happened with my father, weren't documented. Fortunately, they were documented and they can be proven.
That's very, very fortunate that's documented, because it's such a rich bit of history.
Yeah.
And these things must be told, because, if we don't tell them, our youngsters won't know anything about our past,
Yeah.
So that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So what has been your experience then, growing up as a young girl, I should say, in Handsworth, Birmingham, going to school? What's that been like?
Well, I'm not going to have a comparison with my other siblings, because I don't think they understand what my growing up was in comparison to theirs. I mean, I think the rest of my siblings believe that we had a fantastic, carefree growing up childhood. But for myself, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was totally different to theirs.
Okay.
Yes, we grew up sharing clothes and sharing bed, and like lots of other people having this 7 siblings,
Yes.
We had all of that interaction. We played well together. But to me, we were quite feral.
Okay.
And that's a harsh word to use. I believe we were rather feral, because mother, she continued to work. By the time my father had me, he was semi-retired.
Okay.
You have to think of the year, 1909 born. So my father was like 56, something like that, by the time I was born.
Really?
So, so I look a bit younger than what I am now. So he was semi-retired. And in those days, you were retired at 60, remember?
Yes.
You were retired at 60.
Yes.
Okay, so he was semi-retired at that time. So he was sort of like a house husband.
Okay.
He did the gardening, he did a bit of things here and there for people, but he used to be a crane operator and many other little things that he did. He put his hand to anything and could make it work.
Yes. So how did that affect you then? What was your experience?
Well, like I said, mother wasn't at home a lot in my growing years. She was always seemed to be at work.
Right.
So I had in my early years, our uncle lived with us. That's another story, but I'm going to go off on a way off on a tangent on that.
Yeah.
But as a child, between myself and my other older siblings, there's like almost 1.5 years, a little less than that. So one year and a couple of months.
Okay.
But it was myself and my other sibling that are 11 months apart.
Right.
So we kind of shared the same year going through school.
Okay.
She's an August born, I'm a September born. So we were always in the same year. She was the youngest and I was one of the oldest.
Okay.
In the year. But she had neurodiverse issues, which we now know is autism. But back at that time, we didn't know.
Okay.
You know, now my sisters, because we had one brother, he was first, and then all 6 girls came after.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I had put into my head that my mother and father was trying for another boy. And thank goodness they did try, because I would never have been born. You know, they kept trying and trying and trying.
I like that.
Okay, so my sisters, they had the clique, you know, they're all together, and then there was this because it was 1 year after 1 year after 1 year. Then there was a larger gap between my other sister, then me, and then a tight gap again between myself and my sibling. So there's that little gap, and they all had that clique. I come along, I appear to be okay, and then my other sister comes along who wasn't okay.
Oh, right.
So I felt as though I was the replacement for the soda.
Oh, right. Yeah, that thing that
the dummy. Okay. Dummy, yeah. So I believe I was the replacement for the soda. Okay, that's how I put it into my head.
Right.
I was always kept next to my sister, but I wanted to play and be with my other siblings, with my sisters. I wanted to be in that group.
Oh, I see.
I seen the development happening there, and I wanted to be part of that development, part of those games, part of that structure, that I could see things happening, but I was left with my sister with her issues.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, I was like somebody from the outside looking in and seeing all of this going on, trying my best to join in there, but kept back all the time because I don't believe my mother and father knew exactly what to do with my sister.
Oh, okay. And that point that you made, I don't know whether or not your elder siblings were conscious of what you said.
No, because they was there before. They just carried on that as normal.
Yes.
And then another little baby sister come along and they kind of play with the baby sister, but they just didn't interact as much. They continued with how things were. They continued with their status quo.
Yes.
You know.
How did that affect you?
It affected me a great deal because I really believed that I wasn't seen.
And did you at any point think that your parents come to realize that?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No. I like I said, mother was always at work.
Yes.
Mother was always at work, and by the time I went into secondary school, I realized that my mother had cancer.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So there was the time I'm looking now for mother. The mother slowed down. There was no mother because mother was now ill.
Oh dear.
So what I wanted, all that nurturing and all of that connection that I didn't have, I still wasn't going to get it.
No.
I still wasn't going to get it, you know. And then obviously the rest of the siblings continued. But we did do lots of things together, but not in the way I would have wanted it to be. And they would not have had a clue. And I don't think they had a clue. When we've spoken as adults, they didn't have a clue. They visualized something different because they was harboring their connection, their circle, their bubble of this and that. And I had a different bubble, what I was looking at.
I understand that because as a youngster growing up, each youngster looking forward, aren't they? Looking up.
Yeah.
They're not really looking behind to see what's, because that's just nature, isn't it?
Exactly. You want to be with your older siblings.
Yes.
You want, when they go out, you want to go out. You don't want to be the one left inside.
Wow.
You know, and I tended to have the worst clothes too. Amazing. I had all the hand-me-downs, you know, I had all of that.
Which is pretty typical in those days, I suppose, really.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But the thing with me, I believe that really was chiseling me and molding me to be totally independent.
Wow.
And I mean, when I said totally independent, I mean, I was an adult at the age of 2.
At the age of 2? Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
No, seriously.
Really?
It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but Uncle Donald, I was an adult at the age of 2. And I strongly believe that, because when my other sister started school at like 4.5 and that, and I was like 2.5, I was responsible for my sister, for my youngest sister. I mean, totally responsible for her. Between like 8:30 in the morning till about 11. That's a long time to be responsible for a sibling with autism. An hour is too long. When in those days, everything inside the house, the rainbow fish, all of the different kind of things that can break, anything with sharp edges, where she moved, crawling and moving around to pick up this, put in mouth, all these. I had to what. I had eyes in my ears. I had eyes in my neck. I had eyes in my elbow. I had eyes in my back. I had eyes everywhere, watching to keep her safe, until the woman that my mother hired came to the house to look after us until, you know.
Wow. So you were a mother?
Yeah.
Very, very young age.
Very young age. But I didn't know that. There was no comparison for me to know that what I was going through was different to anyone else, because I'm still in the house. I've not gone to school yet. So I was institutionalized to be this responsible person at this young age. And then, of course, when my siblings come from school now, and then come with all the excitement of what happened in school.
Yes.
Can you imagine the play talk, the new game, what they learned, the book that was read to them, or some older ones had a bit of homework, wrapping books in newspaper, wallpaper. I just wanted to join it. I had enough all day with my sibling of watching. And then I just wanted to join, and still I wasn't able to join in, because by the time that come, my mom's back from work, she's tired or whatever. My dad's come back from where all over the place, what he was doing, selling his produce and doing this and that. And I see mom, I see dad, I see my siblings, and it's go stop with it, go over there. It was always go over there, stop there, no. It was always that. Always that. To me, it was always that. Be there, watch Patricia, always that.
Did you consciously notice that sort of break of mold at a particular time in your life? Did you say that stopped?
No, it never stopped.
Wow.
It didn't stop. It didn't stop because she was in the same year as me all through school.
Okay.
So what happened was I had the home life, and then I thought, I'm going to school. I could not wait to go to school. But it just increased. The problems increased in school, because we are talking about a time in school that there's no classroom assistants.
No.
If you're naughty, you go and stand outside the headmistress or headmaster's office and wait for the cane.
Yes,
okay?
Remember that. Yes.
Right, those are those days I'm talking about. It's also the days when people call you spastic or dunce, or, you know, the real terrible words they would use.
Yes.
Now, my sister, unfortunately, with all the other neurodiverse issues she had, she also stutter.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you understand.
Yeah, I do.
She's in school. She's in her class. I'm in my class. She's stuttering when she's talking to people. They're teasing her.
That makes it worse.
Make it worse. The teacher is trying to manage the whole class by herself or himself. So can't be managing my sister. So they go and knock the classroom door where I am thirsty to learn. I couldn't wait to go to school. I wanted to catch up with my sisters. I wanted to learn the things they were coming home with. And I'm taken out of my class nearly every day to go and sit in the medical room with my sister.
Really?
Missing out on my learning. So again, I become the soother in school.
My God. So were your parents aware of any of this?
No, because I couldn't come home and say, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. My mum at work, when mum come back, she got things to catch up with, you know.
My goodness.
I couldn't even tell my siblings. I just looked. I would look at what they was doing. I would look over the shoulder. I would be underneath the table at the back of the chair, looking, watching, listening, trying to learn.
So how long did this go on for in terms of the school years?
All the way through. She's in the same year until we leave school. Until we leave school at 16, 17, all the way through. Infant school, junior school, secondary school. In the same, Donna, I'm fighting boys. I'm fighting girls. I'm arguing with teachers. I'm saying this, I'm saying that. I'm fighting in school. I'm fighting at home. I've got no sanctuary.
Oh my God.
No escape. None.
Did you ever sit and talk to the rest of your siblings as adults?
Yes. Well, it all came out with myself and a couple of my other sisters share a very dark thing, which I won't go into.
Yeah, so
it came out with that, but also when I wanted to write my books, I had to explain everything that I was going through, because I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write my books.
Yes.
Because I never had nothing to spill out. And because I harbored everything, lots of mistakes happened in my life, you know, and I knew it went back to that. And part of not being able to form solid relationships with people, because I was so independent, I was left to be independent. So I didn't have a trust of sharing things with people, because it's just going to end up with me anyway. I'm just going to have to take responsibility for this anyway. I had no other comparison to believe what people were telling me. It's okay to be like, it's okay to be like, it's okay to join this. I had no belief in anything whatsoever.
Wow.
Every decision I made, good and bad, rested from my own laurels. I took it out, says, okay, I'm going to try that.
So I'm just amazed what you're saying to me, because I've never heard anybody so responsible from such a young age to right up to whatever age.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Now, listening to that, your school years then, in terms of the academic side of things, you know, sporting or whatever, were you able to channel any of that to a point where, you know, you became quite proficient because of all of what you just said?
Well, I didn't come home with a lot of work, right? But I copied a lot of things into my mentality by looking at my siblings' books. I looked at their books until my eyes dried out. That was the only way that when I went back to school and I heard any minuscule of things inside the classroom, I could relate to what I saw inside my siblings' books.
Oh.
So I was a mimic. Yeah, I will put it that way. I was a mimic. I specialized in mimicking.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And retain, and I think that's why I've got such a strong memory.
Because you've had to rely on that.
Because I've had to rely on that, because I didn't write well. Certainly didn't spell well. And it wasn't until much later on when I was doing my nursing, I realized that when they told me to go somewhere and take some tests, that I realized I was dyslexic.
Oh, really?
So there's that on top.
Oh
I'm not learning much in school.
Oh my God.
And just trying to retain things. And I spoke lots of my exams out orally. You know, I did my best. I answered many things in the classroom. So it appeared that I was intelligent. But when it came to putting it down on paper, not a chance.
Really?
Chance.
So you know, towards the end of your school years,
yeah.
Did you have something in mind that you wanted to do, you know, when you leave?
I didn't really have something in mind. I mean, back then, the careers officer man used to come into the school and says, "What do you want to do?"
Okay.
And in those days, there was the boys things and the girls things. It was very pink and blue.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the girls were offered home economic kind of things, you know, nursing and craft stuff to go into YTS schemes and do that kind of thing.
Right.
And then the boys were offered carpentry and tiling and plastering and I offered to go. I said I wanted to do the things the boys was doing.
Really?
Yeah, I had no interest in any of the other things because as far as I'm concerned, I was cooking, I was nursing, I was doing all those things for my sister. You know, I was tired of that.
Wow.
I wanted to do the things I saw my dad doing and the things my dad enjoyed. And I thought if I did some of that, my dad might love me more.
Really?
You know, talk to me some more. Because my sister Sandy, one just up from me, my dad and her was always talking. He was always cuddling her. And I would see this. I was so jealous.
Well, naturally.
I was thinking, what you know, I'm younger. Why don't you cuddle me? You know, what's the difference between me and her? You know, why can't I sit next to you on the sofa? Why is it always her? You know, why do I have to sit on the floor with my sister? With my baby sister? Why do I have to be over there? You know? So I thought if I did some of these things in school, I could talk with my dad about it. I learned some tiling, you know, I learned some plastering, you know, I've done the bricks, I made a mini wall.
Just to get his attention.
Yes, things like that. But in the end, after doing some of those on YTS and getting my little, first of all, my £12.50, my brown envelope, that was so lovely, you know, and I moved up to getting £25.
What?
You know, right? But yeah, once my mother was ill and my father eventually was ill too, with his diabetes, ended up having a stroke and everything. I ended up nursing both of them to a degree.
Really?
So Lord have mercy, right? I was, like I told you, I was chiseled into becoming the person I am today and being chiseled in preparation to care for both my mother and my father. Because another sibling of mine above Sandy, who you know, I'm only mentioning Sandy because you've spoken to her, so there's nothing to hide here.
Yeah.
She moved out of the family home and got her own place. And my mother was really, really ill at that time. And my mother had to move in with her. And I moved in also to help my sister.
Okay.
Nurse my mother. But I said, well, Patricia, me younger sibling, has to come too, because who's going to look after her?
Yeah.
So I had my younger sister still looking after her.
Oh my goodness.
My sister, whose house it was, had to go to work, and she went to work at low cost shop. She was a cashier at low cost. So she had to go to work. So who was left in the house to look after mommy and look after my sister? Me.
Wow.
So I'm chopping half now. Part of me this so, part of me yes so. But split in the type of caring, because one is my mother.
Yes.
It's a different kind of care.
Yes.
Seeing what I'm not supposed to see.
Yes.
Dealing with what I'm not supposed to deal with. All of a sudden, I've got my full mother's attention that I've been begging for years.
Wow.
But in the totally wrong way. Now I become the mother to my mother. And I wanted my mother to be the mother to me, and it never, ever came.
That is such a sad statement.
It never came. I was mother from two, and I ended up being a mother to my own mother before I ever had a mother for me. Wow. I don't believe I ever had a mother. She was there, but I wasn't treated like a child, you know, and then come to, no, I never ever had that. It wasn't there.
Do you think that has affected? I haven't even asked you if you've got any children yourself. Yeah. Have you got children?
I've got 3 children and 3 grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. That's great.
Thank you.
Do you think that as your life, because I've got to say, I can't even just say childhood because it's continued all the way up. Do you think that has affected you in any way regarding your children?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
Really?
Categorical force, Gail, yes. In everywhere. I wanted to ensure that I played that mother role in all the ways I imagined it should be. I overcompensated.
I can see that. You know,
overcompensated. But the thing with that now, there's that phrase that you can cover your children in cotton wool or you can smother them, right? I didn't know how to do that. I had no comparison, so there wasn't that. I didn't do that. I just wanted them to be responsible enough to be accountable for their actions.
Right.
It was that degree that I instilled in them. Wow. It was that, you know, whatever you do in life, make sure you're accountable for it. Make sure you cover your A's, your B's to your Z. It was that type of thing. Because I had the strength of a mother from young, but I didn't have the nurturing part, really. I had to make that all up. The nurturing part to me was making sure that the other person was safe. That's all I could think of, because from young, I was making sure my sibling, she didn't hurt herself.
Yes.
You know, I had to cover all areas and ensure she was safe. The food or anything that was given, the temperature, that it was right. All this, she didn't choke on the bottle. All these kind of things.
Do you know, I'm totally amazed to the level and the depth of what you had to go through as a youngster and all the way through your, you know.
No, it's still now. Right now still, because I'm still responsible for the care management that she's in now.
Really?
With MenCap. MenCap liaise with me with what's happening with my sister in the unit that she's in. It's not stopped. It's still there. It's still there.
Well, I have to congratulate you. I know it was forced upon you, but, you know, you carried it out, I can tell.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is, wow, that is such a, it's got to be a heavy burden, because we all need that parental something.
Yeah.
Love, attention, whatever it is, somewhere in our life. And if we don't get it at all, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
On my personal basis, I can't even imagine.
I think that's why anybody that's older than me, or in some sense, like I'd call you uncle. We would sit across the table. First of all, you said you're Donald. And the minute you said you knew my sister, I reverted to uncle straight away.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You know, so back then we was also, this is uncle so this is
yes.
You know, anybody that's, you only have to, if you're 5 years older than me, you know, as long as you're older than me, you are uncle, auntie, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, and that's me still in the child's brain looking at it that way, and it will never leave me. Even though I'm a grandmother.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So going forward, then I heard you mention nursing. Was that the first thing you went into as a profession?
Yes, as a profession, yes.
Yes. How long do you do as a nurse then, or do you still do nursing, or what?
Well, I still do it in a way. But what's interesting is that I went into the hospitals and I learned every different type of thing on rotation that I could. Because it was that safety thing again. I wanted to master as many things as I possibly could, because that's how I was brought up. I needed to master everything.
Right.
You know, so I did a bit of radiography, sonography. I did a bit of working in plaster of Paris and doing all those kind of things as well. Worked in A&E, so that was rapid triage. I worked with the rapid response team as well. And so that you learned a little bit of everything. And then I went into psychiatric nursing.
Wow. So with all of this, there's one word that you mentioned, and that was like dyslexia.
Yeah.
So you're doing all of this throughout all these things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
How did you manage?
Memory. Because everything that you learn, that you have to show and make proof that you learn is all up here. When you revise something, you have to remember things and then give the answers, don't you?
Yes.
Unfortunately, computers and everything was around, even though it was dial-up. Oh gosh. Ooh. But those things came in, and they had spell check and I had all of those kind of things. So as long as I had retained whatever I did up there, I knew what to put there, and the computer would do the rest.
Yes.
Or I used to dictate in a dictaphone.
Okay.
And then that could be written up. So like I said, with a dyslexic person, they can't think A and B, they have to think A to Z, because if something falls to the wayside, you've got a backup plan. I don't know any dyslexic person that hasn't got a backup plan, A, B, and C backup plan. You know, it's never one plan to back you up. There's several, because we always slip up. So we got to ensure that we have a few backup plans in situ.
Yes. And were any of your work colleagues aware of your dyslexia?
Not to begin with, but then it had to be made aware when you're working as a team, because in the hospital situation, a lot of things had to be put into the computer very quickly.
Yes.
So that no one's medical things would be misinterpreted. And everyone had to back up each other. You had to sign off your own work, but then the consultant would have to sign something off.
Yes.
You know, but a lot of people did my work in a computer, right? Because I remember most of my colleagues think that they did. I don't know if you ever seen on television, something's coming in and said, so-and-so's got this, someone got that, and they're running along the corridor and everything's being read out. You have to think, how does that doctor retain all of that that's been just spilled out, bam, 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 as the person's coming in, and know that they've got to have a degree of this, a degree of that, and a degree of that once they're being treated. I was very quick at retaining all of this information that was coming in for everybody.
Wow.
And because I had that skill, everybody backed me up as well, because I retained. Oh, don't forget, it's 0.5 mils for that.
Right.
Oh, yes, you're right. It was 0.5 mils. Yeah. And if I didn't hear everything, and they realized that I had that in me,
Yeah.
And they gave me a title at the hospital because of that. They said, if anyone can, Jan can.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
You know, and I used that when I left the hospital to open up my own business, Jan Can Care.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And
that's very interesting.
Title. Yeah. And the abbreviation, the letters in that stands for Justified Assistance Necessary, that's Jan, for Care and Nutrition.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Because I believe that I left the hospital on purpose because I didn't like the conveyor belt style.
Right.
I wanted to do the complete package. I was used to making sure my sister was nurtured properly, looked after. It wasn't A and B, then stop. Go on, okay, bye-bye. That didn't sit well with me. I was always thinking, I wonder if they're all right. I wonder if they're doing
yeah.
It was always that going around in my head like a washing machine.
Yes.
So when I came out and I started that in 2004, I wanted to reach my own community of people with their mental health issues, because I saw lots of things, people coming into the hospital, being triaged. And sometimes the next thing I know, the police is called and they're carting off this person to the police station. I say, excuse, what is going on here? The person has been triaged, them sick, but them showing some attitude, that the hospital can't deal with. The next minute it's the police. And I said, there's a gap here. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm seeing. They're giving them an elastoplast and sending them on their way, and they're not treating the cause in the first place, And I wanted to get down to the cause. And of course, the nurturing of my sister over the years with her neurodiverse things, her issues, her tantrums, her coming out. I know there was a cause in the first place why certain things happen with people. So my psychiatric nursing led me to go into the field and do Jan Can Care.
Wow.
But the way I would do that, I wouldn't just be there for the cared for person. I would also train the whole family how to deal with the individual.
Really?
Yes. Because there was no point me coming in and looking after that person. And when I go, if that person is triggered by something, how's the family going to deal with? How the family is going to talk that person down? How's the family going to know to reduce the medication at that time or increase the medication? They needed to be taught the temperament of the person, the whys and the hows.
Yes.
When
it's a holistic approach, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing. Because it would only end up, they can't handle it. What they're going to do? Not call the police again?
Wow. And that doesn't help any.
Yeah, and put the person straight back into believing that they are not seen, that they're not trusted, that when they're at their most vulnerable.
Yes.
Right? And if they think the family don't trust them, they're not going to go back home to the family. They're going to be on the street. And that's how you end up with so-and-so stabbed, so-and-so in at this place. Wow. So-and-so, they're just violent here. And then they get locked up. And then after the family are bawling because so-and-so end up dead in the prison. But it's got to be a sanctuary for that person.
Yes.
Some places got to be a sanctuary for that person where they feel safe. Even if they do lash out, they got a trigger from something. And the trigger can be anything that the family don't know.
Yes.
I treated somebody and the trigger was a perfume, the scent of a perfume.
Really?
Right. The scent of a perfume. And it was Estee Lauder Youth Dew. Okay. The Youth Dew was a perfume that the mother of this person used to wear. Okay. And the mother used to abuse the person. I don't mean sexual. I mean, it was a lot of that.
Yes.
So whenever they felt pain, and they could have banged them elbow, the pain triggered the memory of the beating.
Wow.
So you don't know where the trigger comes from. It's just that pain thing and the flashback of being beaten, and then the smell, the environment. and this person go and stab somebody that was wearing the same perfume as the mother.
No.
Because they never see that. It was the flashback. And I had to unravel all of that. And I got down to what it was. I said, don't wear that perfume. Don't this, don't that. And if you're going into a shopping center or anything like that, and they're coming and I said, don't go anywhere. Don't go into those places. And that was you see, you have to find where the source is.
Very essential.
Right. And once that is done, it just started to come down. Once I said, okay, it's this. And then little by little, I had to reintroduce the scent slowly.
Wow.
In a calming environment so they could smell it. But look, you can smell it. Yes, I know. Yeah, I can see you getting agitated, but look where we are. Really look where you are. Listen to who you're speaking to. It's me. You trust me, don't you? You know, it's those kind of things. I've always been there for you. I mean, I'm talking with your family. So it's that kind of thing. So you reintroduce the trigger in a calm environment. So when that comes up again, they can think the calm rather than the trigger.
Wow. How's your company then doing in terms of growth and expansion and all this sort of thing? How's that going?
Well, fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a must. Do you know what I mean? It's a must. But I'm slowly winding down from that now as I'm coming into my latter years, you know, and I believe I have set the bar.
Yes.
With those things. So what I've done now, I've gone into the place where a lot of people end up. So rather than just being in the community and going into those places, I've gone into the place where a lot of them end up. So I end up, I'm working now in the prison.
Oh.
Because there's something people keep ending up in there. So I said, okay, I've done my bit in the community. I can only do so much. But why don't I go and work in the prison, in the rehabilitation? So I'm a mental health rehabilitation officer. If I go in the prison, then I can get some of them at the root. So when they get back out there now.
Yes.
Very
good. Very, very good.
So, you know, I'm trying to dot all the dots and cross the T's. So I've merged onto that now. And I've got some programs going on there, you know, and I think, it's making a difference, just put it that way.
That's fantastic.
Saying too much.
And is there anybody else who's got that vision that you've got to sort of carry on? Because obviously, you know, we're all in life, you know, up in years, whatever. We need somebody to come up, as in the younger generations, to carry on that vision that you've got. Is anybody likely to do that?
Well, what I've done, I had a lot of my cousins, they came and worked with Jan Can Care.
Okay.
A lot of my cousins, I employed. I even employed my older sister as well. I employed her to do that. So she got some of that training as well.
Brilliant.
And my daughter and her partner.
Fantastic.
I trained them as well with some of that.
Yes.
And I think it's important just to have that niche, because you never know. Listen, in life, you could be walking along the street and you could be next to somebody, confronted with somebody that's got those mental health issues.
Absolutely.
Right? If you've got the ability to talk that person down or to know something that can help, but it's at the back of the brain. You might not be practicing it all the time, but if you've got something that, you know, can help in a situation, or you might even end up having a child that ends up like that, or in a workplace, there's somebody that, and you've, oh, you know what, mom said, so you got to, you know, it just comes back and you're there ready to take action.
Yes. So in all of this then, where did you find time and how did you come into the acting world? Now
let me strip it right back to when I was small and I was always watching.
Okay,
so it goes to that. So I was always watching, was always exaggerating things so that I could be seen.
Wow, I get that.
So I was already an actor without knowing that I was an actor. So you remember when we was on the table and I says, I'm so extra? You remember me saying that?
Yes.
Okay. So that alter ego, right, I've always worn. Right. It's a survival mode. It's also so that I could be seen and heard.
And when you said it, I had no idea what you really, really meant. I mean, I'm complete different picture now from listening to you.
Yeah, right. Because people think that extra is extra, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the extra persona.
Yes,
that you need to put on so that you're seen and heard. But it's not a seen and heard of arrogance that I'm putting forward. It's a seen and heard because I've always got something meaningful to say and I want people to see it.
Yeah, right. And I fully understand that.
You know,
and unfortunately, people don't always get that message.
No.
Yes.
You know, you see me with the message of the cancer thing about what I was reading out and saying, and the way I brought it across with a little bit of humor, a little bit of flamboyance. But the message was still there. It's a hard message.
Yes.
But the way I dressed it up
is
more digestible.
Yes. And that's essential as well.
So that's the way I do things. So the acting was in there, but because my mother wasn't about a lot with myself and one of my older sisters, she put us into a drama school.
Oh,
right, an acting tapping drama school called Sheila Maria's dance school.
Okay.
My mom loved to do ballroom and everything. You know, they put us into this thing. It was another way of, okay, who out of the family can do this? Just go there, because she never had the time. So the thought was there to do it, but she couldn't do it.
Right.
So me and my other sister, we went for this. So, and I saw what I knew I could do immediately.
Really?
However, there was another drawback. Uncle Donald, another drawback again, because I was a very small, very thin, small child. If I was 7, I looked like I was 4.5.
Really?
Yeah. So although I think I was 6 or 7 at the time, they put me in the up to 5-year-olds group. Oh, I hated it. Yet again, I was held back. I wanted to be in the group that my sister was in. I said, for the first time now, I'm going to be in a group. It's not at home, but I'm going to be in a group with my big sister. Yay!
Yeah. That makes a big difference.
No, it didn't happen. You know, it did. I was doing gambos and all for my stupidness. I was too grown up for that. Because at 2, I was doing grown-up stuff.
Yes. I
was too grown up for this. I didn't like it at all. And then we went on stage, we did a performance, and I had to sing. I was a solo because I could remember the thing, and the rest of them couldn't remember it. I could remember the song. And I remember to this day, I had to hold a teddy bear and I had to rock the teddy bear. Oh, I did not like this teddy bear at all. I could have cut the neck off and pull all the stuff in out of it. I did not like it at all. But I did the part, and it was me and my teddy bear. Oh, got no worries and we got no care, because I love my teddy bear. We'll play and play all day. You know, I had to do that and rock it. And my mother was in the audience to come and see the performance. Yeah. And when I got home, for about 2 months, if I come from upstairs to downstairs, Mommy said, me and my teddy bear. She would sing it until I wanted to wring her neck. I says, I asked for attention all my life. I'm asking for attention, but I don't want this one. So I would just go, you know, playing, and I did love it, you know, right, and do the actions when my mom would say. She'd do the first 2 bars and then carry on like it was a record, just on and off, and then she just turn and just carry on as normal. It was like a switch with mom and a switch off. So I thought, wow, okay, this acting thing has got something. You know, and the seed was planted. And in school, at the back of the book or anything, I used to just write different poems in my own way. I wrote little plays in my own way, which I didn't know there was a play. It was different scenarios I was doing.
Oh.
And at one time, me and my family, we did a play in our street, which I wrote up.
Really?
And to act, and we made the costumes and everything like that. So we did that, and it took off really, really well. And it was 2p to come and see the show.
No.
2p. So I was already an entrepreneur. 2p to come and see the show. In the end, we knocked on everybody's door, said, just come and see it.
Was it on St. Peter's? Was it on St. Peter's Road? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You know, so we did
that was that was very enterprising.
Yes, it was. But I didn't know it was that. I just thought, okay, yeah. if that can get my mum's attention.
Oh, there we go again. Yes, yes.
Then I'll do something on a bigger scale and get that attention. You know, and get a certain message across. And within the play, it was something like the Wizard of Oz, you know, and it was all about Dorothy wanting to go home, and there's no place like home. So even in that, I wanted a sanctuary somewhere safe for me to be and for me to grow.
Yes.
And when I look back at the way we did it, I don't even think my siblings realized what I put in that and what the message was coming out for me.
It would be quite difficult, really, isn't it? Because they're in their own world, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah,
really
it was just a bit. It was just another game, a bit of fun, because we had fantastic neighbours across the road and up the road from that we used to play with.
Yeah,
you know, as a whole, but there was that in me that was still tested. Yeah.
So the acting really went way back.
Way back before I knew it was that.
Okay, so when did you do for a serious sort of role then?
Well, with my writings, when I started my writings at age 50, I didn't just want people to read my books. I wanted people to see my books. Oh. Marcia M. Spence, which I've got to salute her.
Me too.
She told me when I wrote my thing and I gave her, she didn't want to touch my books to begin. She didn't want to touch my manuscripts.
Oh.
She said it was too much. It was too deep. It was passing it around for people to be. She wasn't touching it. But when I started to explain the depth of it, she said, yes, we'll take it on. Oh, she had to do all sorts of things to it because it needed to be digestible. Yes. It was too deep, right? It needed to be digestible. So we worked through that. And she says, don't just tell people, show them.
Okay.
And when I says to her, that's what I've been trying to do all my life, is to show people who I am. And the first title of my book is Triumphant Through My Early Years. They Never Saw Me.
Wow, what a title.
And then the second one is I Don't Know Who I Am. Wow. Because as I was growing the second and third acre personas, there was morphing all together, and I was beginning to get confused with who the real Jannette Barrett was amongst these personas that I had to keep putting on, that I thought I needed to put on all the time. So that second book is called I Don't Know Who I Am. And the third one, Cries from Their Cells When Walking on Forgiveness Road. So all of them have got very deep titles.
Very deep, very deep.
Yeah. So that thing about, she said something that hit me like a thunderbolt when she says, don't just tell them, show them. And that's it. The first time I heard somebody say something that totally resonated with my core.
Yes.
And I says, that's what I intend to do. I says, I'm going to turn all my books, parts of my books, into productions. And that's what I've been doing.
How easy was it to then transfer from the words to production?
To turn my words into a play, into a play, into a musical was the easy part. Oh. It was getting people to act the roles. That was the hard part.
Okay.
So I did not want professional actors.
Okay.
I wanted people from grassroots. I wanted the people that I counseled, people that needed an outlet,
Yes, yes. That's very, so I like that thinking.
Yeah, I didn't want people to just look at my story, you know, as just a script for them to do, because it was mine.
Yes, yes.
Right. But I wanted people that could feel it in the right way, you know, and that could learn something from it. So I had people from Refuge, I had people from the community, I had people from my church, I had people in my social groups. But one year I had a man that was at a prison come into my production. That was good.
So was this a prisoner?
This was an ex-inmate. Yeah. Okay. He was now outside.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And I liaised with this person. This person ended up writing their own book.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's an influence from you, right?
That has got to be the pinnacle of all things that my work, my words, the production and all of that. This person has written their own book, and they've written about their experience in the prison and everything else. And yeah, it's one person that you can get like that. You know, people always say, if I can get one person that can, well, I've done that, and there's been more.
And that was going to be my next question. What was the most rewarding?
That production, I was in it as well, but it was that production. But not only was that person who was in the prison come and be part of the production, and obviously wrote the book and everything. The production was called Merlina Pearl, right? And this was a woman that I nursed who was actually on the Windrush ship.
Really?
So when I first went to this woman, she thought I was a Chico child, yeah?
A what?
Chico child, some youngster who never know nothing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. This is a grown woman. This woman was in her 90s by then, yeah, when I came to see her. Wow. Right. So I'm coming, and as far as you're concerned, she looked at me. I won't be able to cook no cornmeal porridge. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do nothing that she thinks, you know. Yeah. Little did she know that from me can tie me on shoelace. Yeah. I've been cooking and looking after and doing all sorts of things. Yes. But first impressions.
Yes.
But the family, the surgery recommended me to the family.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I come to this woman and we talk and everything. She says, me no need looking after. Me manage, you know, and all of this. I thought, okay, here we go. I know exactly what I'm coping with. Yeah. I said, okay, listen, there's a lot of personal things that I'm asked to do for you. So there's no way this is going to work until let's just talk. Yes. You know, I says, you want any tea? She said, when me want my tea, you know how to do it. I said, you want chocolate tea? She said, yes, me want chocolate tea. Make sure you scald it good. And I said, I know exactly how to do it. So I make her some chocolate tea, and I bring her some crackers. Right? And I bring it down, I put it down. And she said, you never bring the wet tea. You never just bring the wet tea. I said, no, I was always taught, don't bring somebody a wet tea. You know, always bring something with it.
Right, yeah, so the crackers.
So that was tick number one. And then we start to talk. And she talks, but she's not opening up, you know? And I said, that generation, tough like concrete.
Oh,
don't want to reveal nothing.
Especially to a youngster.
Exactly. To some little person like me. Yeah. So I says, shall I tell you a little bit about myself? And I says, my father was born in 1909. Me never see a woman sit up straight in all my life. The woman sit up, she says, oh, your father can born in 1909 and you so little bit. You know, and I told her my age. Yeah. I was already over 50 at that time. Yeah. And she said, Lord have mercy, she's a big woman. Me said, yes, but you know, look, you only look like 20. Me said, no. Right. So she laughed, so we get the first laugh.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And she said her father was born in 1906.
Oh.
So I says, well, look, you is a daughter and me is a daughter and two of we father the same age. You know what I mean? Then I said, so that make me and you on the same level then, don't it? You know, she said, well, look so.
That's fantastic.
I have her.
Yes.
So we talk about little food and we little, you know, if you do this, you know, if you do it. Says yes, and me season it with this and me wash it with lime and vinegar. And me put everything on the table. And she says, all right, you will do.
They're so particular, aren't they?
I mean, right. Make sure you reach here by 9:15. Because when we want to pick up and we want to see what is it? This morning program. She loved the This Morning program.
Yeah.
You know, so I would always reach there for 9 o'clock, not 9:15, you know. Yeah. I get there for 9 o'clock. So I can have that little conversation with her daughter that was there. Her daughter can her daughter feel comfortable that I'm with the mom and everything. And we had a fantastic time. And she told me about her time being on the Windrush, you know.
Oh, that's amazing.
I started to write her story.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I started to write her story, and I wrote the story out, and I said to the family, and the family said, Mother has never spoken to us about any of this.
And that there's so many people that say the same thing about the
never spoken to us about it, and they've been so grateful. And each of the things that I've done with that show, the family have come and support, and they've watched their mother's story unfold before their very eyes. And I never put it on stage until she passed away.
Fantastic.
Because that's what she said, you know, if you're going to do anything with this, me no want to see it because me no want to go back there. It was too hard.
Really?
Right? But this would help the family know. So when I talk to them about certain things, me did mean when me say. And that's how she said it.
Oh, right. So she was conscious of the...
She was conscious of it, but she never know how to say it to them.
Right. So you brought it all out.
I brought it out into a show, and when they seen the show and understood what their mother went through, they were so grateful.
You know what? That is amazing.
And she said, you play mother down to a T. And I said, the only reason I was able to play your mother down to a T because of all the conversations we had.
You know what? I don't think they were able to have that conversation with their mother. No. Because she's always going to see them as little Pickney.
Pickney, exactly.
And, you know, where you know, and, you know, I can't talk to you like that because you won't understand.
That's right. And I don't, if I never said my father was born in 1909,
wow,
I would not have got that story out. She saw me and her on a level. And because I told her the story of my father being on the ships, etc., etc., when I mentioned the ship, she said, well, me was on one ship. It called Windrush. Me said, you was on the Windrush. And you know, it just walked.
I imagine that. Wow.
Jumping up and down. I go in the kitchen, me make lunch, me make tea. And it all through these things, we just a talk, little care get done, little more things over the time, you know, things. But a lot of the words that she said was so deep, I changed them into songs to make them digestible. Wow. You know, so I knew the family would find some of the bits hard. So I water it down in music. But all the words are there, but because there's music behind it kind of going a little bit gentler, you know?
To say that you've actually, well, I wouldn't say interview because it's really just interacting, isn't it, over time?
Yeah.
With somebody that was on a Windrush ship for them to tell. I think that's just fantastic.
Thank you.
Because how many of those people have such story to tell? And she must have felt so much better just sharing it.
Do you know what? I think it extended her life by a year.
Oh my goodness, how good's that?
I really do, because I was only called in because the family thought she didn't have much time.
Right.
And they wanted to make sure there was 24/7 cover.
Okay.
You know, they couldn't just, because they had carers coming in before, like coming in morning and gone. you know, come in and lunchtime, give little tea and gone. But they wanted the hours completely covered.
Yes.
Completely covered.
24. And she was in the 90s, was she?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blessings, honestly.
So, yeah. That man that was in the prison was actually in the show, and he played her husband. Really? I played her, and he played the husband.
Wow. So what did you call that show?
Merlina Pearl. Yeah. The legacy of Merlina Pearl.
You know, you see a title like that and it really means nothing. It's just words.
Yeah.
Now, after what you just said now, that's completely, I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I put the it's on my YouTube channel. Some of it's on the YouTube channels, so it's been filmed.
Yeah.
But some school says that show should be played to all the schools in Black History Month.
Well, yes.
So
and other months of the year.
Yeah. I know.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I feel, because not only have I brought my own story, my own legacy into productions, but that one, I really want. I've been plugging to try and get that one to tour round, you know, and I'm aiming at bringing it back again next year in Manchester, Cardiff, Tiger Bay, Birmingham, and London.
That is just any support that I can give towards that, promoting it, whatever.
Yeah,
100%, because it's such a story.
Yeah,
with the gentleman ex-prisoner.
Yeah,
her telling a story, rejecting you as a picnic in the first place.
I know.
and then opening up so much to tell you anything and everything about. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. You must have felt, you know, I know you had the rough years, but when you do things like those, they really.
No, this is it. This is what's helped me, because even though obviously as a child you're thinking that, oh gosh, I've got it hard, man. It's not fair. This is not fair. But all of these things, down to speaking with this woman face to face and having that kind of background story to tell her, which was challenging as well for me to open up, and challenging for her to open up. If I didn't have the background I had, her story would not have come to light. She would have died. The family would not have seen that.
Yes.
Right. You know.
And
so
when I say to people, you know, we've got to look at life squarely in the face. There is always a positive to a negative. Absolutely. And a lot of times that positive isn't immediate. So you've got to look for it. Yeah. And find it. And also, a lot of people. Yeah, carry on. A lot of people tend to harbor on the negative, like, massively. Yeah. More than looking at the positive. Yeah. You know, sometimes that's more difficult to do. It depends on the circumstances. Of course it is. With my clients and patients, inmates, I says we have to look at the battery effect. That's what I call it. It's the battery effect. I get it. Each battery has a negative and a positive. Absolutely. Right? But it's the negative and the positive inserted to cause the charge. Absolutely. Okay, so if I just put it into that, it's so simple to put into your head, because we're all using batteries. When you have your mobile phone, you're using battery, and you think that positive and negative helps you to charge your way through your life. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, without any other flowery language around, if you just think the battery effect, the positive cannot be charged without the negative. Yes. And the negatives in life help you look forward to a positive. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. It helps you have hope. Yes. It helps you strive. So the battery effect. Yes. And oftentimes people just really do not connect the two. No. You know, they miss out on the positive. Well, this is what a lot of motivational talks, and a lot of people always say to me, don't deal with negative people around you. Don't this and don't that. And I'm thinking to myself, right, that I never give a talk like that. I will never tell people that don't embrace negative.
Because if you don't embrace negative, if you're telling people not to embrace negative, they're not embracing half of themselves.
Yes, I understand that.
And if you try to just forget, you're not channeling to the learning of that negative episode in your life or anything, or you're not ready to see negative.
Yes.
If you're always blindsiding it.
Yes.
You know, so I would never do a motivational talk and tell people dismiss negative people, don't have negative people in your circle and so on and so on, because it takes one to know one. Sometimes a negative person can point out your negative before you know, say it's dear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inadvertently. So you know something, you know the way you're talking, it's not good, you know. I used to talk, you know what I mean? Just be straight. And not a hypocrite. Right. So I don't tell anybody just to ignore the negative or ignore negative people, because if I said that, I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing, because I pure negative people I'm dealing with, you know, in that sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I learned a great deal from them. And learn a great deal from them. And if I can be the positive in their negative, then they're going to charge and they're going to move on to do things that's going to help them.
Fantastic.
And we all need help every now and then.
Yes, all of us. So talking about traveling, I heard you mention, you know, the cities in UK and all of that. Have you done much traveling other than UK or?
Well, I would only travel to the places that I've got a connection.
Okay.
Because I don't really, unless I know someone is being somewhere and it's engrossed into them and they can give me some kind of feedback, I might check it out. But I'm not a follow person.
Okay.
How could I be? I've been that independent.
I'm very much a leader, right?
Follow person. So I would go to where my parents land and where my parents come from. Right. Those are the two places that I've traveled to back and forth, but also to travel to Africa for obvious reasons. But I also I need a place, because I've never had really, I wouldn't call the UK my sanctuary in any shape or form, unfortunately. So I do have a place, what I do call a sanctuary, where I can unload everything, and that's Spain.
Okay.
So I go to Spain. And the only reason why I chose Spain is because it's somewhere that I can drive to. If plane not move or ship not sail, right, because of storm or whatever, I can still drive. I can drive through the tunnel through France and get into Spain, see and wait.
Fantastic.
That's the independent in me, not wanting to rely on a plane or boat.
You see, that's a positive side of the negative that you're experiencing in life.
So if I want to go, there's no flights, there's no this anything. Okay, fair play. I'll drive.
I think your life story is just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, it really is so much in it. That, wow. I just hope that you just go on to bigger and better things. Have you got it? What sort of plans have you got for the future then? Is there anything that you can talk about?
Well, like I said, my future plans, I really would like to continue with Merlina Pearl's story, her legacy, because I think that would hit a lot of people, because that generation now is almost finished, almost completely gone.
Absolutely.
You know, and I believe that you and I, at the generation that is holding on to that by a thread.
Yes.
You know, and we have to bleed it down.
Yes.
We have to bleed that down, and with stories like that are so tangible, you can really hold on to that, and it gives you something, because we don't want to keep having the slavery, something going on all the time, because that it boils up some kind of negative element in us that's a conflict in ourselves, and it makes us have the wrong kind of fight. We must remember it and we must respect it.
Absolutely.
But we weren't a strong people at that time. We allowed things to happen to us that shouldn't have happened to us, because there was many of us that were going to stand up and do whatever.
Well, it's a divide and conquer, isn't it? So
exactly.
It's not that we didn't have the strength or whatever, but when you're divided,
that's right.
You are
exactly.
I can't even go down that road right now.
No, that is a whole year talk. you know.
But the positive to what? You were saying there's so much more that we have done and we're doing as a people.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is that we can remember that and respect that and honor that, and we should.
Yes.
Why I'm saying that, we are the ones that have to hold on to our parents' legacy.
Yes.
Tight.
Yes.
Because that is reachable.
Yes.
We have seen it, we have felt it, we have smelt it. We didn't see the slavery, so although we can resonate and feel it and everything, we can't passionately bleed that out for the next generation to understand it and hold on to it. It seems too far. But with our parents' legacies that we can hold on to, and them coming here, I mean, it was already here, you know, we have to, that's another thing, but re-coming here and building up the UK and all the rest of it, and we're standing on their shoulders.
Yes. And
that is something we have to say. We
must act as a relay now.
Yeah.
To actually pass on as much as we can to our younger generation.
That's
so
it.
They all
That's it. We have to bridge the generation gap in that sense, and we have to pick back up that baton of it takes a village.
Wow.
You know.
Jannette, this has been fantastic. What a journey you've taken us on. And I truly believe that you will take it further and do a lot better in the future than what you've done, which is fantastic. And the way you link with a certain part of our community, it's so much needed. You know, the prisons and those people in the institutions, whatever, make sure that they have a life and a voice through you. That is so rich.
Thank you.
You will be richly rewarded, I'm pretty sure. Have you got any questions at all about forgotten generations?
I think we kind of fell on that. I would just like anyone that's going to watch and listen to this recording now, encourage conversation between yourself and your elders. Don't take the no for an answer. Don't take the silence for an answer, right? Because even within silence, there are strong words. Find a way to get that common ground, that you can find out what the stories are, because their legacy is part of your legacy and part of the legacy of the future children. Okay, and we need to keep that thread. So although people are saying forgotten generations, we need to change that narrative of forgotten and call it the remembered.
Yes.
Right.
I like
and that. As we say in November, least we forget.
Yes.
Let's not forget. Let's keep remembering.
I love that. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you, big thank you again.
You're welcome.
For the time that you spent talking to the masses.
Thank you.
Myself, the masses.
Thank you.
And let's link very much in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'll do, I'll pass on into your personal messages a bit of the play, and also the link into the YouTube that you can actually see the play, okay?
Brilliant.
And understand where I was coming from.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Everyone else, and have a good day. And remember, respect one another and listen.
Nice one.